Well, you can see that the winter storm Ember did not bring us any snow, but it did bring ice, and it's making the bricks slippery for Mr. Squirrel as he comes to have his morning breakfast of pecans in the shell. Also, you can see that there's ice on the tree limbs by the fence in the background there, and ice also completely coated my main antenna, a G5RV Junior, for the 40, 20, 15, and 10 meter amateur radio bands. And though I didn't venture into the icy backyard to photograph it, I'm sure that the ice completely bridged the gap between the two legs of my dipole here up at 30 feet. We see where the feed line connects to the two legs of the dipole. And the question is, what effect, if any, would encasing this in ice have on the performance of the antenna? The drawing at the top here shows two horizontal legs of a dipole connected to vertical wires of the feed line. And the second drawing shows the two legs of the dipole and also the feed line being bridged by rain or wet snow. Now that, of course, is snow and water are not great conductors of electricity, but they conduct electricity better than dry air. So that's going to act as a resistor, and that's resistors in parallel with the feed line and the antenna, and it's going to change the impedance. The third drawing shows what happens if we got ice bridging the two legs of the dipole. That ice is going to act as a pretty nice dielectric, coupling the two legs of the dipole as plates of a capacitor. And in adding capacitance in parallel to the antenna feed line system, that's going to change the impedance. And finally, at the bottom, we've got ice encasing the conductors of the two legs of the dipole and increasing their diameter, and so affecting the resonant frequency and impedance of the antenna also. So the question is, are these effects, which no doubt exist, are they significant enough to measurably affect the performance of the antenna? There's no substitute for measurement in answering that question, so I connected my vector network analyzer to my G5RV antenna and swept it from 1 megahertz up to 40 megahertz and labeled some frequencies in the middle of the 40, 20, 15, and 10 meter bands with markers in 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we can see that at marker 1, at 7.24 megahertz, right in the middle of the 40 meter band, my standing wave ratio is a little over 7 to 1, which means a pretty significant impedance mismatch there. This is the iced up antenna, and not too great on the 21 megahertz band. That's 15 meters. Pretty decent, just slightly under 2 to 1 for the 20 meter and 10 meter bands, but really terrible on the 40 meter band. A day later, with the sun beating down on my antenna and completely drying it out, thawing the ice, you see that the standing wave ratio on 40 meters on at marker number 1 there at 7.24 megahertz has dropped from over 7 to 1 down to 1.75 to 1, which is pretty acceptable standing wave ratio. Anything under 2, I would feel comfortable operating without using an impedance matching device between my transmitter and my antenna, not worrying much about reflected power coming back into my final amplifier and burning it out, as has happened in the past. And since I primarily use this antenna on 40 meters, it's good to know that when it's iced up, I better have that impedance matching device and probably be better off just waiting for better weather.